Welcome back. It has been nearly 8 decades since a submarine sank off the coast of Connecticut. It was just this year that a local diver found the Defender in the waters off of Old Saybrook. That diver is Rick Simon, owner of Shoreline Diving Services. He joins me this morning in Studio A. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
I think a lot of people might be like, Rick, this is crazy. A submarine right off the coast of Old Saybrook. How did this all come about?
So I grew up diving off our coast and in Long Island Sound. In roughly 2005, I went to some state meetings and heard about, hey, there's a lost submarine in the Sound. We have lots of shipwrecks, but very few submarines and very few that haven't been found. So it was just one of those interesting pieces of history that needed to get solved.
And you solved it, and we'll get to that in just a moment. But tell me about this boat. It was the Defender. It was built in 1907. It's kind of a wacky submarine. It drove on the bottom?
Yeah, so it was built by Simon Lake. He was a man ahead of his time. It could launch divers. It had wheels. So it's really unique for its age. We didn't have a submarine like that until much later on in the Navy's history. The sub was built for a competition between Electric Boat, who built the Octopus, and Defender. They were kind of competing for this contract, and it's kind of what we've gathered. The sub was kind of too experimental and too new to win that contract.
Well, we just saw a picture of Simon Lake. Now we're looking at a picture of the submarine. And Simon Lake, this one didn't work out. He tried to sell it to the Navy, and they were like, no thanks.
Yeah.
But he does have 200 patents, I saw in your press release, so he got something right.
Yeah, so although they didn't buy this submarine, they bought a lot of his other submarine designs, and they incorporated a lot of his designs into other submarines. And when the U.S. didn't bite on this sub, he started trying to sell it to everyone else, and he sold subs to many different countries besides the U.S.
And so this one doesn't sell. It sits in New London for a while. It was just kind of all over. And then in 1946, the Army Corps of Engineers just scuttles it?
No, so in like 29, it's got some interesting history. They were out doing tests at Block Island right off our coast. And they have Amelia Earhart out on the sub to go dive off the submarine. And, kind of a big, I'll say a PR stunt to get publicity. That doesn't work out. So in 38, he finally sells the submarine for scrap to Sloan Danenhauer. He keeps it around. It sinks once or twice at the dock, and nothing really happens with it. So in the hurricane of 44, it sinks. And then the Army Corps says, hey, this is a hazard to navigation. We've got to get it out of here. And they end up taking it off our coast and sinking it.
So you knew what you were looking for, and interestingly, it was kind of hiding in plain sight, because you said if you look at the topographical maps, you found it. You knew what you were looking for, width and height and length, right?
Yeah, so originally when we started looking for it, many years ago, we started just diving on targets, and recently, in about 2020, NOAA went through and side-scanned Long Island Sound. So we started looking for it again. We said, let's find out where it's not, and while looking for where it's not, we found out where it was.
And what's that moment like when you realize, you're, and I know it's not, the hugest discovery of shipwrecks ever, but this was what you were looking for, and you found it. We have some pictures. I want to show some of those moments when you get that image and you say, oh my gosh, that's it. What's that like?
It's exciting. It was a big team effort. It's not just me. I kind of put the group of people together, but we had research from lots of people come together, and this is a group effort. You can't go out there and do any of this by yourself. So big team effort, and it's exciting, right? You always are looking for things. You never know if you're going to find it, and the moment you find it, it's pure joy. So it's really exciting.
So tell me what you did find, an intact submarine sitting on the bottom.
Yeah, I'll say it's 90% intact. It's laying on its port side. One of the propellers is missing. But for the most part, it was stripped before they sunk it. During World War II, copper and brass were in high demand. So sitting at a dock in New London, they kind of took everything off of it that they could have. So it's an intact submarine laying on its side. It's kind of a hull. It's not broken. So it's an important piece of history. Simon Lake was inspired by Jules Verne in that 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea as a kid to build a submarine, and he did. I think it's, for all the kids out there, if you design it and think it, you could actually go and do it, and that's the real story here.
I know I believe you're not saying exactly where this is located, right?
Correct.
You don't want like knuckleheads in canoes trying to go down and find the thing. But it's just off the coast of Old Saybrook.
Yep.
And now what? So now that we know where it is, what's the value of that?
So there's no, I'll say, material value to it. What's in value to us is it's a big piece of history. So we're working with the state. We had a big meeting today with the state so that we're working on getting it designated a historical site. So that's going to come into play. So we want to share this with everyone, with kids, with people, to inspire them that, I'm just a guy who went out and decided to do this. It's not that hard if you're a diver, or just go out and explore.
And about how far down is the wreck?
Roughly 170 feet.
So it's, it's subserious. You have to be a pretty skilled diver to get down there and take a look.
dive. It's high current, low visibility, so it's not for the faint of heart. So we don't want to see anyone getting hurt. We want to document it the best we can, share our research, and we don't want people dragging things into the wreck and breaking it up. So that's kind of what we're working on now, is how do we protect it and share it with the public at the same time.
And when you have something like this, I mean, is this now fueling you to go look for the next one? Are there more wrecks out there that you want to go find in our local area?
So yes and no. There's always, everyone always says, hey, I found something. So we're always checking things out. There's nothing on the radar yet. This is a big project. We have to finish this project before moving on to the next one.
But to have people, maybe who go to the beach in Old Saybrook or go to Hammonasset and look out across that water, there's stuff out there.
There's stuff everywhere. I mean, as I tell people, you drive around on your boat and you look at your bottom sound, or you go over a bump, it's probably a shipwreck. We've been a port for hundreds of years, and, there's so much maritime history that no one knows about because it's under the water.
So we just have a few seconds left. What's sort of the takeaway from this? If someone's watching it and they're interested this happened, what do you want them to just know about what you found?
That, we're not special, our team. Like, anyone can go out and do this research and find history and connect with history.
All right, and well, you did. You knew it was out there, you looked for it, and you and your team found it. Pretty cool stuff, and hopefully as you get that historical site together, you'll come back and tell us all about it.
Thank you.
All right, Rick Simon from Shoreline Diving Services, thanks for being with us.
Thank you.